Hello, welcome to the McEwen Brother podcast. This week, you join myself, Gregor, with Jamie, my brother. We're going to talk about Jamie's dissertation and the topic he decided to go down. His focus was obviously marketing as he studied marketing at Stirling University. But we're going to dive a bit into, what did Jamie learn? Why did he choose this particular topic? And let's get an outline, an understanding of this topic because it is really interesting and it's very topical within the industry. Jamie, why don't you give us the title of your dissertation? We can start from there.
Okay, perfect. Well, my title of my dissertation was Can a Targeted Marketing Strategy Change the Course of Golf Clubs Within the Forth Valley?
Okay, so obviously, marketing is a huge role to play within business and also not for profit organizations, which some golf courses are. And effectively, my understanding is you discovered that a lot of golf courses obviously are run as charities, hence why marketing is potentially a huge part of them to attract more revenue to enable them to run. Obviously, they're not for profit, but they need money to run and operate. So, why did you choose kind of targeted marketing strategy and why golf courses?
Okay, so obviously, from when you're doing a dissertation where you're choosing your topic, you're trying to obviously choose something that's relevant to you, thinking of something that's you enjoy because you have to do it for quite a long period of time. So obviously, being passionate about golf, played golf from a very young age, understood what golf clubs are, sort of the struggles that was going on in certain golf clubs. Having golf clubs close around us, I was thinking, okay, there's something obviously wrong there that maybe could be fixed. I started to read up on other papers within the marketing, obviously literature reviews and doing like seeing what papers were already out there on this sort of topic. Found that there's a gap in aspect of um, not understanding how that the targeted, so like actually focusing on specific groups of people, could be proved to be beneficial for clubs to help increase their numbers, profitability, survivability, just overall growth for these clubs. So the reason I chose the targeted marketing strategy was in the aspect of that a targeted strategy may work better than using general methods or using basic advertising. Um,
What's the difference
that's
between a general marketing approach and a targeted one? What's like the main differences there?
basically difference from like normal targeting and just general marketing. So you have like general marketing, which can be pretty much anything to do with trying to promote a product in a certain way to benefit the business in some form. Um, but targeted is basically when you have these basically three different stages to it. So what you have to do within the targeted marketing strategies is basically segment the market. So you have to figure out what is the market. So for like golf clubs is obviously figuring out what the demographic is. So golf clubs currently age demographic is around 50-year-olds and above. So they segment that market. Then you've got targeting, so choosing do you go down male, female, Pacific age range, and then positioning the product, so putting it into certain places using either social media, using different techniques of either Facebook, newspaper, different advertising methods, and then planning a structure of resources that you have around you to then create a like online sort of way to contact and
So I get your point that you're coming across with, Jimmy. Um, Obviously, a golf course close to us in the same county closed down, and obviously that kind of fueled this whole study and kind of give you an outline of what golf courses are up against in the marketplace. What did you learn when you're doing your research? What did golf courses do, and how did you approach that?
so I with the your my dissertation I chose a qualitative study. So this meant I was doing interviews with golf clubs to try and understand what their current situation is, what they're already doing, how they're trying to improve for year on year. And the overall study that I found was a lot of these golf clubs are trying to branch out into like social media. They're all trying to create their own Facebook page, stuff and that side of things, and use these sort of platforms. But the main thing that was highlighted from it was all these golf clubs didn't have anyone to manage them, so the posts were irregular. There was no consistency. There was nothing that was. They weren't seeing the benefits from using social media to help advertise the club, and this resulted in basically like seemed like waste of time, or even trying to put money into something that wasn't really working for them. So I was trying to understand how this could be changed. Why was it not working for them? Asking them more specific questions of like, is it targeted? Is it just, are you posting it on your Facebook page? Do you use any, Facebook ad campaigns? Like understanding how they actually currently use these platforms to then evaluate that actually they were missing a certain aspect to help growth of the companies or
Was
the
the
club,
whole
sorry.
was the whole focus on social media marketing, or was it just that you learned that they're trying to use this tool? Did they use anything else, or what was the angle there?
So um, the whole, sorry, Greg, could you repeat that?
Yeah, were golf courses kind of like picking up on social media as that's something that they've tried to attempt, and you say they didn't have anybody to manage it, so it wasn't really working for them, or were they also trying other parts of marketing? Because you're talking about your dissertation talked about a targeted marketing strategy. Can you only do that via these digital means?
Um, no, it can be done through obviously different means of different marketing campaigns and um,
I guess what I'm trying to get to, golf courses didn't only use social media, and that's not the downfall of their failure or not performing as well as what they could have. For example, social media isn't the only outlet, but from what you're saying, it sounds like that was their main focus.
yeah, so that was the main focus, but I think there's a bigger picture in terms of golf clubs were just highlighting that the stream of people that were coming into golf weren't the people from a young age, which was causing an aging demographic, which was highlighted through studies they've done or even just analysing their current members. The average age of all the clubs was like you're looking at around about 40 plus of an average when it came to the ages, which was quite predominant in every club I spoke to. And their goal using social media was the aspect of trying to gain access to the younger demographic, trying to get new people, younger children into the club to use it. One of the clubs that I thought were doing obviously quite well, Unit Stirling Golf Club. Obviously, what they have done is use government schemes that were out there to help benefit them to provide things for these kids for free. So then to help increase the traffic that they have to the club to bring down that average age. Their goal was to bring the average age sub 30. Um, but
Wow.
that's not been possible for them yet. But they have made the right steps. They've got a nice training program. They've got a professional that's willing to take time and effort on the kids, and you can see the development program that's going through them. Their club is now actually too busy to join now. Like their club has been over the last couple of years have now got a waiting list. To get started there, which is quite impressive considering a lot of clubs have struggled. We even know a club not far from Stirling Golf Club that had to close. So like it's interesting to see that obviously they're doing something right. But there's an aspect of golf clubs that are well known or in a right area have just done generally well. Stirling is a well known town. It has a lot of things around it, from our Wallace Monument to Stirling Castle. And there's an aspect of it does well because of these things, and tours and stuff. They even talked to me about how they get a lot of tours throughout the year that come to the club, and all these smaller clubs all around won't get that same traffic. So they're trying to pick up on obviously the local people who are willing to actually come along and use the club. So from that, it was a really good understanding of where clubs were at, because I had the range of one club going, Jamie, if we don't hit these numbers this year, we'll close. Some clubs were talking about getting rid of clubhouses, closing down clubhouses and just having like a small wee hut thing for you put your money in, and people collect it once a week. Like really interesting to talk about these sort of things, because there's so much more than obviously just the marketing side of things. That when it came to my study, obviously doing it, trying to help them with the target marketing strategy, there's a bigger picture to the whole product and the whole issue with golf clubs at the moment, which I couldn't really go into because my study was mainly on the target marketing strategy and trying to use like different models like STP, or even using like undifferentiated differentiated marketing, which is obviously talking about basically cutting the segments of the market up, or trying to go like niche, so using only a few segments, concentrating. Okay, do you know what? We'll just target from um, 18 to 30-year-olds, just targeting a specific age range and using social media to do that. Every club seemed like that was the way that they wanted to go. Newspapers were in the past um, as a strategy for them. They had a lot of the clubs said they'd used them in the past, but found that now that just wasn't working for them. Um, I do think though a lot of the clubs didn't seem to have a great understanding of what Facebook ads meant and how to really use them to benefit the club. So from that, this is where I was trying to obviously use my study and figure out obviously how they can use different models to basically help benefit them. One of the ones is obviously like a positioning map, so you can position on different axes to see where the club is currently positioned. Are they doing well in certain, okay, we've got a lot of members, but the age demographics, this age, so in 10 years' time, when all these people decide to leave or sadly pass on, we wouldn't be able to keep that number. So we need to target, obviously, this age range. Or it was a lot of talk about different age groups. I think with the clubs, the aspect of getting the average age of every club down so that they've got a constant flow of people coming in. But one of the
Did
clubs says we,
they?
sorry.
I was going to say, did they have a approach to how they would attract certain age groups? Because it's all very well saying we need we need this younger demographic in, but if they don't have, and they could put out ads and stuff, but if the ads are written by somebody in their 60s, posted on Facebook, it might not appeal to people or certain demographic.
Yeah,
How did they make sure that they can actually attract these people? Because ultimately they might need to do up the bar a bit or make a bit more talk, make the environment more friendly or more appealing to a certain demographic rather than, oh, we're going to target some ads to these people on Facebook.
yeah. I think obviously the big issue is because they've not got a lot of these clubs have struggled in years or had seen losses for many years now and haven't really done much about it because of the management of the clubs haven't been to the standard that's been needed to maintain certain clubs. Um, or the people who have been haven't concentrated on an aspect of actually, do you know what, we need to become profitable because we need the money to come in. Obviously, in the last few years, we've had with COVID, they had a lot of grants and come in. Some of the clubs have benefited from that and seen the boom of people wanting to be outdoors, which was obviously seen in the conversations I had with the clubs. But yeah, clubhouses issues not getting used. Every club highlighted, as you seem to obviously, do they need to work on that aspect? There was every clubhouse said to me, most clubhouses are run at a loss, which seems crazy when they've got a lot of these clubs are actually, some of them have got really good facilities in terms of they've got plenty of space, they've got opportunity to have good venues on. Um, but yeah, there's that aspect. Does it need updated? That's going to cost money. The club doesn't have the money at that moment. Um, a good example would be our home course, Alloa. When I was speaking to them, we've got our bit of land that they were selling off, which they said that money would then go towards basically straight putting it back into the club and helping them survive for a few years after as well, which seems crazy to say that they were like, yeah, that money's only going to help us to survive, when it should have been like, no, we'll just invest every single penny into doing something like something with the clubhouse. We'll get the clubhouse to a better standard or update it to make it look better. Then more people maybe come in and use it. Um, but everything with that's gone on in the last few years, especially when I was speaking to them, was like with COVID, they were saying that it was something that's affected them big time in terms of revenue just for people coming into the clubhouse. On average, they would have um, plenty of groups coming in just even for a meal and a drink. Now you're seeing probably not even half that because the age demographic were are more at risk. The people who do play golf are the ones that are sort of predicted to be in a higher risk range. So then less people are likely to come in, risk of contracting sort of COVID. So yeah, there's a big sort of aspect of like how they're gonna get back. But my overall conclusion from my study was that they need to something had to be done with in terms of getting the average age of the group down, and it had to be done away through social media by investing in marketing campaigns that target specific age groups through providing things such as free using government schemes. Obviously, we've got like me and you, Gregor, from younger age. We did club golf. Club golf is still about, but a lot of clubs have lost their like connection with them. Um, Stirling and Muckert were two clubs that I found that actually use the schemes quite a lot. They actually have a guy that's used to work in finance, and they end up using them to basically go through all the forms to try and get this money in government funding, which is then benefit them for these kids. They can provide free lessons, free membership fee, days away, um, and then just trying to get involved with in like we have county events, the Scottish Golf Union who do events throughout the year, providing opportunities to even just provide transport for these kids. Some of them couldn't maybe get there on their own. So Stirling, I know, have invested in a van. They've got their own transport, so then they can actually take the kids away. And it's just highlighting this through social media that they can come along, try out, use clubs that they have at the club. Then they'll get a free lesson, and then that provides the opportunity for them to come along and see if they actually enjoy it. I also think there's the aspect of going out in person. So this is something I couldn't have put in the study, but one of the things was basically word count was cutting me down, so I couldn't add it. But going out to golf clubs and actually going out to school, sorry, and trying to speak to the kids in school, showing what they had to offer, talking to them about coming along, doing like open days, getting them to come along, try out, have the pro with them, and provide that aspect. But um, you have the argument of the gents who then get annoyed with too many kids on the course and damaging it, and there's a big uh, issue with that as well. So yeah, there's quite a lot. It was an interesting study. It took a lot of effort to get it done, but yeah.
Would you
Sorry,
have
guys. I think
done?
I've went on and on and on there.
It's pretty good. Enjoying it. Would you have done anything different for that study?
Um, I think if I had more time and more word count, I'd love to spoke to more clubs. I think my study was limited due to the aspect of how many clubs I actually spoke to. Because in the end, I think I spoke to 8 clubs. So I definitely would have gone and done more, seen more clubs. I also think going face to face with them. So all my interviews were done online. So I would have maybe tried to be in person to understand the body language, do that sort of understanding. Like, okay, they were clearly showing that they're struggling. Also, just see the clubs to understand what stage they're in. Um, and then the other aspect is I'd maybe gone down more social media, find out exactly what they do, because I think it'd be good to analyze what the clubs got up to in their studies, then be able to analyze and improve on, and then maybe provide them with a different strategy. Okay, actually, do you know what? You could really benefit from using this, and then providing the evidence and proving and show them how to get that in place. So yeah, that's probably the few things I'd probably have gone with.
Amazing. Well, I think that summarizes your dissertation, the work you've done there, um, in a nice way. I thought you obviously put a lot of work into it. Really interesting topic. Obviously, we play golf. We play at home golf club, and to have that insight into their world and to how they're actually performing and their plans to get better is obviously really interesting. And obviously your knowledge of marketing and then also social media management, you can kind of feed that back in, and even still now you could be like, oh, you find it interesting seeing what the club's doing online. Obviously, part of it, I guess, as well, is people during lockdown were wanting to go outside. So when things were opening up, and golf courses benefited from an increase in membership because it was only sport that people could really do without, team sports where you actually kind of a lot of contact, and that was banned. So I think golf clubs had an increase memberships, but there's also the other side of it that they're trying to attract a younger market and everything like that. So super interesting. Thanks for diving into that, Jamie. And do you have any closing remarks, or say somebody's possibly starting a dissertation at this moment in time? Do you have any tips for them?
I think I would just say get it done as soon as you can. Don't hand it in as soon as you can. Just get it done as soon as you can and review it, read over it, and then if you can take stuff out, add stuff. I did mine. I had probably an extra 3 weeks. I finished mine. I had 3 weeks left to actually till the due date. Within the 3 weeks, I got it read over, checked over by some other people as well. I got some family and friends to read over it, just see what they thought of it. And then through that, I actually took out sections, rewrote sections, to just make it sound better, Also, I did more reading. It gave me an opportunity to actually go back and actually maybe just see if I've missed anything, add to it. Um, and yeah, just take your time. There's plenty of time to get it done, but like don't sit about and do nothing. If you can do like even 100 words a day, before you know you have it done. Um, and it will be
Was it
kind of
quite
effortless.
stressful for you?
Ah, yeah, it was stressful. Like struggle to remember it was that stressful. It's like a big blur the whole time period of it. I have to say it's a bit of a blur, but
Okay, yeah, that
um,
makes sense. Right, well, we'll end the podcast there. Thanks again, Jerry. And yeah, looking forward to our next week's podcast. And if you have any questions or any feedback for us, as always, our YouTube channel is a place to go. Leave it in the comments and give us a review on Spotify. I realize you can actually review podcasts. You can give like a 5-star rating or on a scale of 1 to 5. So feel free to do that as well.
perfect. Thank you. Cheers. Bye bye.
Bye.